It's because of this view that the Zillertaler say their valley is the most beautiful in the entire Alps. We take a look at the town of Mayrhofen, right at the end of the Ziller Valley. It's also the region's capital, for Mayrhofen is the biggest in size and population. Mayrhofen presents itself nicely dressed up, especially now in the summer. The tourists are supposed to feel good here. In Mayrhofen, great importance is placed on hospitality. Hotels, bed and breakfasts, and a lot of nice private accommodations offer the right lodging for every guest. Those who go sightseeing through their resort will experience the spectacular splendor of the flowers that all residents of Mayrhofen cultivate with passion and even with Mediterranean flair. Of approximately 6 million annual stays in the entire Ziller Valley, Mayrhofen-Hippach hosts about 1/3. The big water park is an attraction for all water lovers. Fountains, showers with massaging effect, or just swimming. Especially the kids have fun all day long. The family-friendly water park offers something for everyone. The Europa fountain in front of the parish church. The church is always worth a visit. Modern sculptures by Professor Moroder. The town's charm arises from such contrasts. The Europa House is the starting point when it comes to information about hiking. The three-dimensional model of the Zillertal Alps helps you to plan your route in a special way. The most important destinations and huts are mapped to give any hiker a general idea of the valley. And so it's about time to start out on our very first tour. In Mayrhofen, all your holiday dreams can come true. Even more so with the help of the 2 cable cars. One of them is the Ahorn cable car, by which many hikers like to be lifted from 670 to 1965 meters. The bottom station is a little south of Mayrhofen. We have a deep view into the Ziller Valley. Far in the distance, there has to be Ramsau. A number of possible trails set off from the upper station. For the start, it's recommended to choose a short route underneath the Ahorn peak to the Edelhütte. However, there's an environmental mystery to solve first. How long does it take waste to decompose?
Guck mal, das ist ja Wahnsinn. 100 Jahre für eine Kunststoffflasche.
Well-informed hikers will take their waste back down the mountain. The destination of the hike is the Edelhütte. It's a comfortable hiking trail, well completed and easy to handle for anybody. It takes less than 2 hours to complete the tour, which makes it suitable for families with children. The Edelhütte is not the only place to go. Many other trails begin at the upper station of the Ahorn cable car, which is also referred to as Filzenrast station. The peak of the Ahorn is still in penumbra. The view of Mayrhofen's popular local mountain will accompany us the entire time. At the trail junctions, signs indicate whether you are on the right track. Or for those who have changed their minds, it's easy to change trails here. We don't have that in mind. Our destination is still the Edelhütte. Now it's time to really enjoy the hike, which also means the magnificent flora of alpine flowers at the wayside. Those who come to the Ziller Valley to hike should first read up on the wide selection of offerings. They range from simple day trips to longer hut tours with several overnight stays. It's also possible to participate in guided tours or tours for hikes with special interests, such as minerals, for example. all peaks shine resplendent in the summer sun, so that our hikers are consistently rewarded with impressive views down the Ziller Valley. Sound nature. That's the asset of all resorts in the Alps. All environmental commitment aside, this will only succeed if really all hikers join in. And for that reason, they are reminded unobtrusively but with emphasis. About 300 meters have to be surmounted from Filzenrath to Edelhu. The Edelhu has become a popular hiking destination since the Ahorn cable car was built, even though the peak is quite easy to reach from here. The Filzenschneid. Underneath this green mountain edge, one can spot the thin green line, which is the hiking trail we have just finished. The section Würzburg of the German Alpine Association provides the Edelhu. 63 beds and communal bunks are available. The hut is open from the middle of June until the end of September. Not only the view, all hikers look forward to all kinds of Tyrolese specialties freshly prepared by the innkeeper. Thanks to that kind of hospitality, we conclude our first hike in the Ziller Valley completely satisfied. Those who are inclined to clamber the mountains even higher may tackle the Aschaffenburger Höhensteig. This leads up to alpine heights though. Someday even the lamb might succeed in going there, but at the moment it prefers the tender loving care. Right next to it, two magnificent Haflingers on the feet. They are already accustomed to the sight of the Ahorn peak. Somehow it's an inviting thought to make it to the crest. Perhaps another time, because there are still so many trails left to explore the Ziller Valley properly. So for today we are content with the view of the wonderful alpine landscape. The Penken cable car is already visible from a distance with its yellow cabins hovering above the valley bottom. The bottom station of the cable car, which was reconstructed and modernized in 1955, is situated right in the middle of the city. Nowadays, the comfort of mountain railways like the Penken cable car, taking tourists easily up, is taken for granted. However, its realization is due to its constructious visions and entrepreneurial courage. Thus, new tourist perspectives have been created for the resorts. More than 50 years ago, in 1953 to be exact, the construction of the Penken cable car has been initiated. Although criticized and ridiculed, the pioneers proved to be right. The cable car launched a second season in Mayrhofen because the slopes were now made accessible for winter sports. Today, in times of tough international competition, Mayrhofen is able to keep up as a high-class resort in summer as well as in wintertime. The Penken cable car goes up to 1,794 meters. Various manifold hikes are possible from the upper station. However, there's one more alternative, which should not prevent you from taking in the fascinating mountain view first. Switch into the chairlift next to the cable cars up a station. The lift takes hikers up to the Penken, which is another 200 meters higher. Those wonderful alpine meadows really invite hikers to relaxing strolls. With a little luck, one might find blue gentian and Alp anemones. In wintertime, skis dangle from the chairlift, for the Penken is a high-class skiing area. 2,000 meters, that's the upper station and final stop. The ascent was rather relaxing until now. However, a lot of hikers look forward to a snack. The Penken is only a few minutes away. The innkeeper knows how to please the children. It's not only allowed but desired to stroke Meister Langohr, the donkey. Is there anything better and healthier than buttermilk? There are a lot of hiking possibilities here. One of the most popular hikes runs from the Penken to the Penken Joch house and then past the Penken Joch, 2,095 meters above. Above the Mayrhofen, the trail leads down to Vorderlanersbach, the destination of the hike. To the right, the giant and shapely Grin mountain arises. And not only the Ahorn peak, apparently there's a lot more that's worth to photograph. Panoramic trail. It becomes obvious why the route between Penken and Penken Joch got its name. Those who like to see more stunning views will enjoy a little excursion. Only a few meters below, one can have a look into the Zillergrund with a reservoir. Only a few know that one of the best chamois grounds of the whole region is located there. The Zillergrund. As early as the year 1200, several Schweigerhöfe existed here that were farmed year-round. One of our later hikes will guide us there. This is a nice tour alternative. Up here with the Finkenberger Almbahn and then in reverse direction across the Penken. Back to the valley by foot, chairlift or Penkenbahn afterwards. A lot of mountain farms were able to survive. By the way, grazing preserves the typical image of the mountain pastures. Otherwise, this traditional cultural landscape would quickly be on the verge of scrap encroachment. That would be a pity, because many hikers rejoice in this alpine landscape and the variety of mountain pastures and forests up to the Ziller Valley. Again and again, those lovely views impressed the beholder. The peaks seem to be within one's reach. The hikers are not pressed for times, and so they rest more than they planned in the morning. It's getting more challenging. High mountains are next on the hiking schedule for the following days, into the main crest of the Zillertal Alps. At least that's what most hikers plan. The current route to Vorderlanersbach deserves the title comfortable. It takes about 3.5 hours from the Penken down here without noteworthy steep descents on the well-completed routes. This hike is also suitable as a warm-up. A direction checkup with the help of markers is recommended from time to time. It's hardly possible to get lost. Instead, the multifaceted hiking and tour possibilities become once more apparent. It is afternoon and the pastures appear dozy. This distracts from the strenuousness of a mountain farmer's life. It's not far to Vorderlanersbach. We stop for a little refreshment in the village and then go back to Mayrhofen by bus. It was only the second hike, but we already feel at home here in the Ziller Valley. We're looking forward to the next trails to explore even more of the mountains. This also means to trace Alpine traditions. Back in Mayrhofen, the Grüner Hof is located in the old district Dorfhaus. It's one of the most beautiful old Tyrolese farmhouses. Built about 1580, the building materials of the house are evidence of the residents' affinity with nature for generations. The interior of the farm is also lovingly restored. It's well preserved today. This allows us to get an idea of the farmer's life 400 years ago. Guests have probably always been splendidly entertained at the Grüner Hof, for example with Tyrolese bacon or a nice red wine. Awareness for one's own tradition has emerged everywhere and has become an object of cultural value. Especially the tourists appreciate that. This is also apparent in the view of Mayrhofen. All residents contribute to the vacationists' comfort. A city stroll in the afternoon is a welcome change, during which plans for the next days are easily made. A new day probably brings more luck. The thunderclouds around the peaks are gone. The green Wandspitze shines resplendent in the sun. We're back at the end of the valley of Zillertal and like to hike to the Kasseler Hütte today. The weather's keeping up, the view's clear, and we're quite confident. We have best conditions for a high-class alpine experience. It's a quite diverse hike. This part of the route leads through dense mountain forest. It's not yet the midpoint of our hike. This time with cumulus clouds. The Great Löffler, 3,379 meters high. The Greizer Peak is alongside to the right, the Lappen Peak and rightmost the Lappen Gap. The panorama invites us to rest. There are new views again and again. You have to drink a lot on a hike, such as water or tea. Small energy snacks charge the muscles' battery within seconds. The cattle seem to enjoy it as well. Once again, the Lappen Gap. The famous Berliner Höhenweg goes right through it. It starts at the Kasseler Hütte. Water is the permanent companion to our hike on the Kasseler Hütte. It's bubbling and roaring all over the rocks. New natural habitat for animals and flowers is created constantly thanks to the water's elementary power. This hike is much more challenging because it leads through alpine areas. The detrital field has to be crossed safely. The equipment consists of sturdy alpine boots, rain shelter and telescope walking sticks. It's still a wonderful summer's day, made up for experiencing the mountain. And they become more noble and marvelous. Vis-à-vis the white snow and ice fields of the Löfflerkäse shine. Suddenly the glaciers are at eye level. That means we're about to reach the Kasseler Hütte. It's about noon, and the midsummer weather conditions provide the visitor with that kind of alpine cloud theater that makes a mountain hike memorable experience. Artful covers out of steam. In this way, the peak changed their costumes in minute cycles. The Kasseler Hütte is situated 2,177 meters high on a rock. This hut has a long tradition. It was built from 1926 to 27 and then upgraded from 1981 to 82. The exposed position of the Kasseler Hütte only opens up from above. The hut braves the elements like a lonely eyrie. Those who have already hiked this area are always keen to come back. This hut panorama is extremely beautiful. We immerse ourselves in the scenery of peaks, clouds, wind and sunshine before we start the descent. We take the same way back from which we came. However, this time we stop at the Grüne Wandhütte, which is situated below at the Stillhuppe on the Zillertal Alps. You can also use the shuttle service to come up here. The hen house as well as the entire atmosphere. We had a visit to this hut on our plan because it's one of the homiest for hikers around. The hut animals are adequately supplied, of course. The guest may expect that as well. The tavern offers fancy dishes for hikers all day. Back at the head of the valley, we leave the Zemmgrund knowing that we experience one of the most beautiful valleys in this mountain region. However, the Zillertal Alps have yet a lot more to offer. A mighty 186-meter treetop. We're at the dam of the Zillergrund reservoir. It's used for drinking water and power supply. From Mayrhofen we took the bus. This connection exists not only to the Zillergrund but to all other grounds. The bus stop is right next to the dam. From here, we walk through a 200-meter tunnel to follow the hiking trail parallel to the lake shore. It takes 1.5 up to 2 hours to get to the Plauner Hütte. The trail is flat so that we're able to enjoy the wonderful landscape. hike might have started comfortably, but by the time we're leaving the seashore and climbing up to the edge, our training does pay off. It's a mountain trail now which loops uphill in many bends to the Plauner Hütte. Walking sticks, which may be telescoped and stored easily in the backpack, provide support for this piece of trail. Not so long ago, hardly any hiker visited the Zillergrund. The building of the reservoir initiated the change for this remote valley bottom. It's hardly surprising that the nature conservation associations as well as the Alpine Association minded the artificial lake. But compromises have been made from which nature benefits today. The power plants, for example, have to guarantee a minimum of water amount for the Ziller. All in all, residents and hikers agree that the reservoir really fits well into the Alpine panorama and looks almost like a natural lake. The last few meters to the Plauner Hütte are quite steep. There are still some vital glaciers like the Ziller Kies and the Kuchelmoos Kies. It's one of the few alpine regions where hikers are able to appreciate the icy peaks in all their white beauty. The Plauner Hütte is framed picturesquely from the peaks of the Reichenspitzgruppe. The hut is located far in the northeast of the Zillertal Alps National Park. Thanks to the concept of this natural park, big parts of the Ziller Alps are preserved from excessive tourist development. Ecotourism instead tries to combine the traditional use of the soil and mountain forests with the interests of hikers, mountaineers and nature lovers. The Plauner Hütte was built in 1898. Today, the German Alpine Association of Plauen and Vogtland is in charge of the hut. In 2,363 meters height, you can not only have a good rest. Various transitions and ramifications meet here to Richterhütte and Gamsscharte. It's only 2.5 hours from the bus station to the middle of the Alpine world. There are only few high mountains which can be hiked that easily. The builders of the huts probably liked the Alpine landscape even without the lake. We also like to agree. We are fascinated by these contrasts time and again. Summery flowers and snow-capped mountains. We have already visited 3 huts on our hike through the Zillertal Mountains. Each time we have found different landscapes and met different kind of people. We always parted as friends. We've got 4 more huts and tours on our program. We're curious what else we're about to discover in the Zillertal Alps. The Schlegeis Reservoir, southwest of Mayrhofen, is the starting point for a 2-day high mountain tour. We'll visit the Friesenberg House and the Olperer Hütte. Most hikers do not miss a walk on the huge dam. It's astonishing, 725 meters long and 131 meters high. The trail with the number 532 starts directly at the dam. The first stage leads up a total of 700 meters up to the Friesenberg house, where we stay overnight. The big dam is steady, but how about the shaky bridge? The courageous crossing of the Falschenseitenbach succeeded. It takes about 2.5 hours to reach the Friesenberg house. The next day, the tour proceeds to the Olperer Hütte on a part of the famous Berliner Höhenweg. Best regard from the giants. The Hochpfeiler in its gorgeous robe of ice. Together they constitute this impressive ensemble that contrasts with the emerald green surface of the Schlegeis Reservoir. The hikers have to prepare a little, although this tour again offers no extreme conditions. It's going uphill at a steep grade soon, so that a certain minimum of stamina is necessary. Even though an occasional peak is wrapped in clouds, the hikers are lucky. The weather is keeping up, the sun is shining with all her might, illuminating the whole mountain scenery magnificently. That's the champion of heights in the Zillertal Alps, the Hochpfeiler, 3,509 meters. Underneath, the Schlegeis-Kies. The scenery has changed subtly. The mountain forest gave way for a vegetation of smaller pines. This is an unmistakable sign that we have exceeded the timberline. It's a warm day and the physical effort burns many calories. However, experienced hikers advise, a pullover or rainwear should always be in the backpack. A sudden change of weather may occur rapidly in the high mountains. There has to be enough space for beverages as well. Alcohol is taboo. Water or tea are good choices to stay well hydrated and balance electrolytes in the body. The Friesenberg house is no longer far away. The first meters in altitude are handled easily. According to experience, the tempo fades obviously. Therefore, one should always allow extra time, particularly because the information on duration is always given without rests. And that's how they look like, the Zillertal Alps, viewed from the Friesenberg house. It's the blue hour, which is the exact moment when the peaks are perfectly visible and seem milder all the same. It's the fading light of the end of the day. Several reconstructions of the war made the Friesenberg house habitable again. The house even became an international meeting place. The evening is not yet over. Nature has another spectacle to offer for the hikers. A new morning. The day begins as terrific as the eve past. After a quiet, recreative night and a good breakfast, it's time to leave for the next stage of the hike. From the Friesenberg house, the trail follows a part of the Berliner Höhenweg, which looks like this. It's path number 526, the part between Friesenberg house and Olperer Hütte. It covers an altitude difference of 90 meters downhill. Nevertheless, the first few meters of the path are uphill. It's supposed to be another nice summer's day, and so the two hikers may delay their departure from the Friesenberg house to wait for the sun to warm the snow to get more security for walking. The Hohe Riffler also get a snow top overnight. Fresh snow in the middle of the summer. However, it's no snow disaster, only a little more care while walking that's necessary. An icy stone or a frozen piece of snow may have serious consequences. There it is, the terrific view over the majesties of the Zillertal Alps. This was not the last reward for the mountaineers. The ice crust of the glaciers in the distance. And at their feet the greenly gleaming mirror of the Schlegeis Reservoir. We're headed down there, the concrete dam is the destination of our hike. The Hochferner Spitze is clearly visible. The Schlegeis Glacier underneath the Bright Knock is the main source of the Schlegeis Reservoir. The Berliner Höhenweg is reckoned today one of the most beautiful alpine hiking trails. 7 days, 7 huts, among them even the Friesenberg house and Olperer Hütte. That's the outline of the route in short. After 2.5 hours, the Olperer Hütte, built in 1881. After a genuine snack along with an unmatched view, the hikers now follow the path number 502 down the reservoir. It's still the Berliner Höhenweg. The tour also offers a sort of natural trail. Ground by the glacial ice, it's easy to walk on the ridge of the rock. Fed by the Riepen Glacier, the Riepenbach cleaves downhill to the reservoir. Now the hikers are not far from their destination. Slowly they approach the Schlegeis Reservoir. We reach the car park at the dam. Above all, the terrific summer weather contributed to the success of the hike. Many hikes can originate here at the Schlegeis Reservoir. Consequently, the dam lake will be our starting point for another trail. The bus is one possibility. To carpool among mountaineers is another one. The car park Zemmgrund, directly at the dam of the Schlegeis Reservoir, is our destination. The toll road winds up through the wildly romantic Zemmgrund. Suddenly we reach the huge dam. About 130 million cubic meters of water press against it from the other side. From the car park Zemmgrund at the dam, the hiking trail leads southwards directly along the lake shore. Destination is the Furtschagel house. It's an easy and unspectacular route at first, taking the hikers only 1 hour. Soon they arrive at the inlet of the reservoir. The path is yet easy and well constructed. The hikers know that this is going to change. Blinded by the sunlight, the two hikers can nevertheless see the sparkle of the glacial ice underneath the Breitnock, ascended in 1882 for the first time. The ardent sun shines without mercy on this summer's day. Almost too hot, the hikers break a proper sweat. They're tempted to get rid of some weight. Backpack transport, says the sign. Per material cable car to the Fortschagel. Touring 2 times 300 meters, though in fact the backpacks are not that heavy. Clearly visible, the trail markers show the hikers that they are on their right way to reach their destination. Rough steps of rock lead upwards to the Fortschagel, which invites for an overnight stay and to continue on the Berliner Höhenwegs the next day. Our hikers have other plans, though. In good weather, they want to descend the same afternoon. Now they climb up in alpine regions, closer to the glaciers. Die Hochferner Spitze, the Hochpfeiler, the Hohe Weißzind covered in clouds, then the Breitnock. 3,000-meter mountains. All these mountains bear well-known names and largely form the main crest of the Zillertal Alps, which to a large extent is glacial massive of granite gneiss. Facing the Großen Möseler, the hikers climb higher and higher in the midst of terrific alpine landscape. The force of the erosion, the unresting works of streams and rivers have moved such inconceivable amounts of detritus over the ages that the Zillertal Alps would disappear under a thick stratum if it were possible to bring this rubble back. Prominently, the Fortschagel comes to fore, and on the left the Schönbichler Scharte is visible, for which the trail leads further to the Berliner Hütte. However, the Fortschagel is within one's reach. At first only farmers came here, which was about to change after the house was inaugurated on the 7th of August 1889. Since then it has served for mountaineering interests. From the reservoir up to this point, an impressive 2,300 meters, the hikers walked some 2.5 hours. Cynically, it's an extraordinary hike. The effort is limited, but you can tell nevertheless. The Große Möseler presents a friendly welcome, the domestic mountain of the Fortschagel. The new house soon enjoyed great popularity, so that as early as 1902 more than 1,000 guests have been welcomed up here. Due to the tireless effort of the innkeepers, the house is neat and appealing today. A lot has changed in the last 150 years. The house offers 130 beds, for example. One more panoramic view is granted before bidding farewell to the Fortschagel and to the people up there who are convinced that everything has to be done to support this kind of green tourism in the future. Steep edges of the Hochpfeiler, the mighty ridge of the Breitnock, and the charming characters of all the other peaks in the Zillertal Alps. we will have pleasant memories of them. Where else can we find such beautiful snow-covered mountains? At the Schlekai storage, twilight unfurls. 8 hikes, 7 huts lie behind us. And we know the day will come that we'll meet again in beautiful Mayrhofen or somewhere else in the Zillertal Alps.